Hey guys, it's May. You know what this means? No, not being outside and having fun. It's challenge time! So you already know the drill, right? Scroll down, right click, inspect element, click on this part, right? Ctrl Z, Ctrl V, bash, challenge.html, and here we have it, the challenge for this month. But looking at the challenge like this is kinda unfun and literally burns my eyes. So what you can do now is we go to the debugger, click on challenge and challenge.html, and we have the challenge.html file open here. And we just scroll down to the part that looks interesting to us. And we see the code that generates the page, as well as the container object that stores the content of the page. Interesting. What you have to do now is look for anything that looks suspicious or kind of sus. jQuery stuff here. And wait a minute. This seems super interesting. The best thing to do now is we open up our most favorite search engine, search for the package, and type it in, press enter, and click on that Sync link, and we might see some interesting stuff here. So you see cross-site scripting. Cross-site scripting could be also interesting, but I guess this is more promising. We see prototype pollution in exactly that package. So what we now have to find is a POC. And after some Googling or Binging, we find this link from Black Fan, where he describes a CVE in this library with some nice POC for us. Perfect. But before we use this payload blindly, we should understand what prototype pollution actually is. But what's this prototype pollution, Professor? Oh, good that you asked, Jimmy. For that, we have to know how JavaScript creates objects. And it creates objects by basically creating a prototype object that gives the base for the object we create. So toString, for example, is a part of this prototype object. And by manipulating this prototype object, we can basically influence every other object that uses this prototype as a base. And that is pretty scary. So now we can go back to our challenge and try to use our new knowledge. We already know our payload and we kinda know how it works, but we can try to use it now on the challenge. So we will enter this in the URL, because we already know that this is a valid payload, and check out what the console might say. Sweet, the payload worked. So when we type in evil, we now should say our payload. What if we now try to use this object instead of the page number? Just enter, and we see our hi, and it also parsed it in HTML. So that's amazing. But what if we try to use an evil payload right now? For example, something like script alert. Interesting, it won't pop off. So let's see where this part was injected. And it was injected by inner HTML. And the problem is that in HTML5, inner HTML added parts of HTML won't pop off. For example, the script won't work when it's parsed via inner HTML. So we have to figure out a different way. But we're smart, and we know that with image and onload or on arrow, we could also run JavaScript, right? So let's try this. So we say that our source is X, and on load or on arrow, we just pop off an alert. And we look at the website and it gets cut off. So this is quite interesting. Let's look at the script again that parses our input, and let's look at the part where our XS actually entered. And we see that we have some sort of filter XS around it. And let's check which version filter XSS has. We can see that it's a really recent version, so we won't be able to evade this. So how can we actually work around that problem? The easiest way of doing this would be polluting the object and seeing if we can maybe change the way this XSS payload checker works. So let's again open our console and look at the object. Look at the XSS object. And we can see a lot of functions. After a while, we can see that we have down here something like a whitelist. And this is interesting. We see different tags that we have here, for example, dear or caption center, whatever, h1 to h6. And we also have our image tag. And we see that on error, for example, is not whitelisted. But we learned that with the prototype injection or pollution, we can now change the value of this array or add our own whitelist. So what we have to do now is we add our proto again and change the prototype of the whitelist element to be more precise of the image and add our own 2 tags to it. So on error and source will be now whitelisted because it's the only one that we need. And we just simply add our payload of our alert to document.domain to fit the challenge. And let's check if it works. So we enter this onto the website. We enter the payload, press enter, and it popped off. Nice. We solved the challenge, and now we can get some rest. Hey guys, I hope you liked the video, and thanks to Intigriti for the challenge, and also thanks to Piyush, I hope I pronounced that name correctly, for creating this challenge, and yeah, we will see each other in the next video. Bye!